Okay, well, thanks. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate hosting as always. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Alpine District December 2020 Roundtable. It's been quite an interesting year, and now this is our eighth or ninth roundtable they've conducted online, and it's actually worked pretty well in a lot of ways. So with that, let's go get started. Please join me for Pledge Allegiance. I'm going to do mine actually seated here, but here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. All right, a few announcements here. First thing, I try to put this up, and I have this slide, but I kind of update it each month, so just people are aware. So due to COVID, the Chief Seattle Counsel Service Center is closed to the public, at least through into January. It may run past that, but at least that long. Sports staff will be available. There are some folks that are there, and they answer the phone and help with things, but they please do those via phone or email. I mentioned this last month. I believe Peachtown Scout Shop will be closed indefinitely, so you can order things through the Scout Shop online, the website, or Advancement online. The Tacoma Scout Shop or Everett Scout Shop are our closest options there. Tacoma Scout Shop is now accepting Chief Seattle Council Scout bucks. If you're going to go there or want to talk to them or something on the phone, let them know which council you're from, just in case there's another unit with the same number in that council. All right, meeting agenda. If your unit has not completed their annual recharter yet, please do that soon. I know my other two troops I'm associated with have been waiting for a few folks yet. We've got a lot of people to track down. So. Fair enough. Okay, we'll go through a few general announcements, so I'm going to do a couple at the beginning here, and then we will pass that around to others around the call. First thing, and Chris McNeil may be able to talk to this a little bit more. The council has a new Scout executive. He'll be starting in January. Mike Quirkup's retired in August, and will be a gentleman named Manny Ramos will be taking over as the council Scout executive. He knows our council. He used to be the director of field service for the Chief Seattle Council before he went off to work for the National Council. So he used to have what is currently Chris Otto's job back in the prior to 2013 or thereabouts. He's also a volunteer. He has youth both in a troop and a pack in Mount Tahoma District. So he's very deeply involved in the program. Okay, I'm very proud to be able to present an award this evening. This is the Arrowhead Honor for a Roundtable Commissioner. And I'm not going to read all these. I'm sure the rest of you can read faster than I can yourselves quietly while I'm not reading aloud. But a lot of work goes into earning. So if you ever see a commissioner that's got that arrowhead, it's worn on the left shoulder of the uniform, just below the council patch. Normally, it's only worn on a commissioner's shirt. Doesn't have without a unit number, so it's and it takes a while. In theory, you could get it all done in like 12 months, but that assumes you have nothing else to do in life. And even a really committed scouter usually takes a couple years or longer to get through all the requirements for this. So I'm very proud to announce that Kat Ressler is receiving the Arrowhead Honor for Roundtable Commissioner. She's been serving as both an assistant Roundtable Commissioner and the last couple of years a Roundtable Commissioner for Cub Scouts for the Alpine District. She's doing a great job. The version she's going to get will have my signature in the second block there, as well as the patch to probably wear on her uniform. So with that, congratulations, Kat. Thank you for your continued service to the district, even though you now live down near Lake Taps. But anyway, thank you, and great to have you here this evening.
Thank you, Ken. I'm glad that I started the adventure with you way back 5 years
back in the
ago,
day. Yes,
we're still going strong. Thank you so much.
Back in the day, yes. So anyway,
yeah, way back in the day.
Thanks, Kat. Carry on. I'll just mention this for we're not ending the meeting. Just the meeting's not that short, but just so people know, next roundtable meeting, as usual, will be the second Thursday of the month. It'll be virtual, and that'll be in 2021. We hope the year is provides more opportunity to actually do things in person than this year has, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to go back up to the announcements page and pass the ball around for other announcements. Or I know, Kat, you have some awards to present, but I think you're going to do that in the Cub Scout session. Do you have any other announcements this evening?
I do not, but
go ahead, Kat.
I think Carol had wanted to present that award during the main part of this now, and then I'll reinforce in my meeting if that's okay.
That'll be fine. Carol, do you want to go ahead and go present that?
Yes. So some of you may or may not know that when you take a position in scouting, you get position trained. And this, is different for each position, and there's a lot that goes into it. Usually a lot of online videos to watch, but sometimes it's in person, and you always gain a lot out of it. Even for someone who's done scouting for a number of years, going back and doing these trainings is amazing. Especially how things have progressed over the years. So without further ado, I would like to present the Den Leader Training Award to 3 members of Pack 551, Hannah Wilhelms, and forgive me if I butcher last names, Brandy Burns, and Jamie Carlton. So yay to everybody, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, yay! You guys are great examples of getting this all done. So absolutely congratulations. So
thanks for joining tonight. That's great. That's great to get through that training and be a well-trained leader. That's great. Thanks for taking time to do that. And Carol, thank you for presenting. Mr. McNeil, our district executives, do you have anything you'd like to share from the council up front?
Yeah, absolutely. So on that slide, mentioned that our council service center was closed to the public through January 4th because of COVID. But also, as Ken mentioned, that we are still available during business hours by phone. Our support staff is working in the office. I went in on Tuesday and I had a big old list of things to do that I can only do when I'm in the office. So I got some of that stuff done. Our office, however, is going to be closed the entire week of Christmas. So December 21st through the 25th, we are going to be closed. Our council has those times off. So that was kind of a nice surprise. I just was announced, I want to say yesterday. So we got a few extra holidays. So that's really nice. So moving on, so in addition to the Scout Bucks that the Tacoma Scout Shop can take now, they are also able to make charges to your unit accounts. And if you've met your friend's scouting goal this year and wanted to, say, pick up your badges or whatever that you get for free, you can do that at Tacoma as well. So that's really cool. Just, make sure you tell them that you're a Chief Seattle Council unit, so they're looking it up off the right list. So that can happen. Excuse me. It's recharter season. Obviously it's a very big surprise considering charters were actually due 4 weeks ago. But it's not a surprise. I really appreciate everyone that has finished recharter so far. Over 50% of our units, 55% of our units have finished the online recharter. So thank you all for have done that. About 75% of our units have at least started Recharter. So if you haven't started Recharter and you happen to be on this call, I'm guessing everyone that is on this call has at least started. But if you haven't, please go ahead and do that. And also, really pleased to try to make an effort to finish your Recharter process by the end of this next week. We want to be able to get those all processed before the 18th, since we're going to be getting that week off. It'll be really nice to be able to process all of those and also fix any errors, because sometimes there are little hiccups that may show up that you don't notice until after you have submitted your Recharter. So just some quick tips. Make sure your adult leaders have taken their youth protection training this year in 2020. It has to be, it's an annual done training that has to be done, even if their training says it's good until 2021. That is the national requirement expiration date. Our council has more stringent requirements. It has to be done every year. So youth protection training for all adult leaders that want to stay registered, do that. And then I guess that's pretty much the biggest thing that holds up Recharters. Or if you have a new Cub Master or Charter Org Rep or Committee Chair, we need to get their application as well. So if they haven't, if they're completely new to your pack. Thank you everyone who has been working on that. I really appreciate it. I know it's a really hard time to be working on paperwork, especially because in some cases it's hard to try to figure out who is still in your units. I know that is definitely a big question with some of our units. So thank you. And then also yesterday, our council had a Friends of Scouting coordinators training meeting. We had about I think 8 or 9 units from Alpine come to that, and we had a bit of a breakout. So your Friends of Scouting coordinators, that's always not a position, a very enviable position, especially this year. It's hard to ask for money, and this is a year, this upcoming years is definitely maybe harder than normal because people are having, a lot of more families are having challenges in that department than in previous years. But Friends of Scouting is also really more important than ever, so we can continue offering scouting at the lowest prices that we can, and providing the scout reach opportunities and the camperships, and maintaining our camps. So make sure you if you have a Friends of Scouting coordinator, give them a thank you. There'll be more information coming with that, but anyways, just kind of wanted to announce that. Other than that, I think that's all I have. Just want to wish everyone a happy holidays and a happy new year. This has been one heck of a year, and thank you all for kind of sticking with this and doing our best to keep scouting strong, because it'd be really easy to just kind of throw in the towel at times like this, and I really appreciate all of you, what you're doing, finding ways to still providing a program for these kids. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. I'm going to pass the ball to Todd Brown, our district chair. Todd, do you have any words of wisdom for the group, or really anything else for that matter?
I'm not sure about wisdom, no, but I do see we got a fair number of people attending Roundtable tonight, so that's great. Thank you, everybody, for taking out the time to try to improve your knowledge and participate in district activities, and also to help make your own unit stronger. So congratulations on doing that. And if I don't get to say anything before the end of the evening, though, I wish everybody a happy holiday, and we'll see you again in January.
Great. Any other announcements around the call? Just wave your your hand or something, or speak up. Anyone else have any other announcements tonight? Okay, I'm going to go back to the other slide here. Okay, so 2 great sessions to choose from tonight. If you're here for the Cub Scout session, Cat Wrestler and Wendy McBride will be talking about Pinewood Derby tips and tricks. That's always Pinewood Derby is always one of the high points in any Cub Scout pack for the year, and there's some great ways that Cat and Wendy have some good suggestions there to share about that. On the Scouts BSA session, our own Lisa Widener will be teaching a session and answering questions called The Essentials of Merit Badge Counseling. So if you're here and you're thinking about, hey, maybe I could become a Merit Badge counselor, this is your session for you, and learn about what it takes to do that, which is actually surprisingly not terribly hard, but it's an important part of sharing knowledge with Scouts and as they work towards their more advanced ranks in Scouts BSA. With that, we'll go ahead and divide. Eric, you've got a process to split people up, or do you just want to call for?
Yep. So I'm gonna pause the recording really quick.
Okay.
Hey, quick question. The person who is 703 phone number, could you tell me your name so I make sure I can record what troop you're with?
This is Carla Knickerbocker.
Knickerbocker, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Oh, she's cutting through audio. Oh, I got it. Okay.
Right.
One on the screen, one on the phone. All good. Thank you.
Yes.
I am recording, Lisa, for you. Okay. It looks like you're all set, so go ahead whenever you're ready.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for dropping by. I know that it's family time, so I appreciate you spending some time here doing this. I'm sorry about my weird light. We keep trying to fix it. I glow and I'm out of focus, which is kind of like how life is for me right now. So I figure, and I also wear glasses. So, but just bear with me. And if you have any questions, if you don't mind just raising your hand or just chiming in, because I find I can't do slides and watch chat boxes at the same time. I get a little lost. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and raise your hand or just shout it out. It's fine. I actually went over to Facebook this morning. They have a very active Merit Badge counselors group. And if you're really into Merit Badge counseling, it's a great place to hang out. And I said, I'm presenting Merit Badge counselor training tonight. Does anybody have any advice? And, you know, of course I got wear pants. And a few others. And then this one really snarky guy said, well, why? It's all available online. Why would you do that? Why would you bother? And that has kind of stuck with me all day. And I think the answer that I would give him if I were going to get back at him is because when you go over this stuff in person, I think you come out of it more enthusiastic for what it is than if you just sort of page through an online presentation. So thank you for being here. Ken sent me a very big slide deck and I'm very grateful, but it's very big. So we're just going to go through it as quickly as possible, and we're going to leave plenty of time for any comments or questions that you might have. We'll get started with a scouting overview. The mission, the objectives, and how the Merit Badge program fits into that, what qualifies people to be a Merit Badge counselor, how you become one, how you do it, and then some of the sticky parts of Merit Badge counseling that is usually found in group instruction. We can go over that too. All right. The mission statement of the Boy Scouts of America, also known as Scouts BSA, to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout law and oath. I don't think anybody in here is brand new to Scouting. If you're brand new to Scouting, say brand new to Scouting. So everybody knows what merit badges are and how they fit into the grand scheme of things. Good. All right. The objectives of the scouting program are these 4 things: character development, citizenship training, leadership, mental and physical fitness, and merit badges have to do with all of those things. Every activity in scouting has to do with all of those things. All right. You all have seen this before. The patrol method, advancement, outdoor skills, wearing the uniform, leadership development, personal growth. Those are all the methods of scouting. And the things scouts learn by doing merit badges is, of course, very important. But when you're leading merit badges or working with a scout on a certain merit badge, it's just part of the goal of the scouting ideal. It's just one block in building the tower. Okay, 4 steps to advancement. The scout learns, the scout is tested and reviewed, which is the part the merit badge counselor plays. And then the scout is recognized, is usually beyond what the merit badge counselor is involved in. All right. As some of you know, merit badges actually aren't required in advancing in ranks until the rank of star. It's not required. You don't, boys and girls don't have to earn merit badges until they are well into the scouting program. But they can earn them at any time. A little 11-year-old who just crossed over yesterday can start working on a merit badge if that's what he chooses and wants to do. Venturers can also earn them, and Sea Scouts only up to the age of 18. After that, they can stay in those programs, but they can no longer earn merit badges. All right. There are 21 required for Eagle Rank. There will be another one required for Eagle Rank starting in May on inclusion and diversity. But the overall count will remain at 21. So I'm guessing that the 7 electives will go down to perhaps 6 electives. All right. Any questions? Good? Sound good? Everybody good? Good. All right. There are 137 merit badges. They cover 14 subject areas. Some are more fun than others. Some are more work than others. Some are more popular than others. And there's something in there for every scout and every merit badge counselor. Okay. The benefits are obvious. Scouts learn citizenship, character, leadership, fitness, self-reliance, social skills, careers, hobbies, and they get exposed to role models, which is you. All right. There are certain qualifications to being a merit badge counselor. You have to be at least 18. You have to be a person of good character. You also have to be recognized by the district you're applying through as having the skills and education in the subject area that you want to counsel. You know, I love archaeology. When I was little, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I don't know anything at all about archaeology except that I like to watch it on TV. Therefore, I'm actually not qualified to be an archaeology merit badge counselor, although maybe in my next life I will be. Good rapport with leaders and Scout Age youth, that's kind of a given for all roles in Scout. Okay. There are, based around the water sports merit badges and the shooting merit badges, additional training that is required, potty certification, and I don't know anything at all about the shooting merit badges, but I know that you have to get certified to be a counselor for the shooting merit badges. I do know who you would contact for more information. So if you are interested in being a merit badge counselor for any of the shooting merit badges, just shoot me an email and I can get you connected with the guy you need to talk to. Okay. Okay. even if you're already registered, like you're an ASM or a committee member, you have to submit an extra application to be a merit badge counselor. If you're not already registered, you also have to submit a BSA adult application. Luckily, merit badge counseling, which is code 42, is free, so you don't have to pay for it. Unluckily, you do, because they have to run a background check on you, you do have to include your social security number on the applications. There are no exceptions to this rule. It is a Scouts BSA rule. I know we kind of lose some people who are interested in being merit badge counselors because of that, but you know, still we make the wheels turn. So, and I can direct you to the person who registers and keeps up with the list of merit badge counselors for the Alpine district. She does a fine job. She and her co-leader in that. They also will send you in, I think it's either in May or June, Ken, if I'm not mistaken, they will let you know that that a year is up and that if you wish to continue in the district as a merit badge counselor, you need to let them know. Otherwise, you are automatically deleted from the list of Alpine merit badge counselors without warning. So once a year, you do have to let the district know, yes, I enjoy being a merit badge counselor and I would like to continue. I know there's been in the past an awful lot of trouble with the list being stale and out of date. And I have to say that the two gals who handle that right now are awesome. They run a tight ship, and it's been a real blessing to have them around.
Good observation, Lisa. Yeah, it's every June. At the end of June, it's on the 6 months out of phase with from your troop or scout renewal. All the district positions get renewed, so you have to kind of sometime in late May or early June let us know you'd like to continue as a merit badge counselor.
Right, right. And I know I have it later in this presentation, but while we're right here at this moment, I'll go ahead and say that youth protection training, which is required for a merit badge counselor, is good for 2 years, but in our council, you have to do youth protection training every year. Looking at the list, it looks like most people's YPT training usually expires in September, October, or November. So, so the other two ladies and I who work with merit badge counselors the most might email you and let you know, wow, I've got this event coming up, and if you would like to be a part of it, you're going to have to do another YPT. Kind of know when your YPT expires and do your yearly re-up of your YPT training. It's always great to take another look at that training. So important. And keep your YPT current. There's nothing worse than having to tell a scout, well, I'd love to work with you because I can't because of this thing that went wrong. So so try to stay current on your YPT. Let's see, what else have we got here? Oh, the merit badge counselors are council positions. We are kind of monitored by the district, who helps us with any issues and any problems that come. I know in Scout Book there are these quirks. Sometimes you are approved to be a counselor for something and it's not there in Scout Book when you need it. If that ever happens to you, just let me know and I can help you get connected with the people who maintain the master list. We'll help you out with that. Okay. Here are the two forms that you have to fill out to be a merit badge counselor, the adult education and the counselor information. This is all also the drop ad form. So if you no longer want to do citizenship in the community, this is the form that you would fill out to have your name removed from the list for that badge. Or if you have a new hobby and you want to add something, this is also. Okay. Yeah, there's the YPT. Yeah, there, and that's also available online now, like everything else. Good. The local council will take a look at your paperwork. It will run a background check on you. It will approve you or disapprove you. I've never heard of anybody trying to apply to Counsel a merit badge and just not having any of the qualifications. But I'm sure if you didn't, they would let you know. And not only on the list that is maintained by our district, which says whether or not you want to work with just this particular troop or just the entire district. There's also choices in Scout Book where you can update your information and limit it to just so that you cannot be found by Scouts except for those in your troop. But you can also select that you can be found by Scouts from anywhere who might contact you and ask to work with you. Okay. I'm going. So here, this is the process of counseling. The Scout is interested in a particular thing. He asks his unit leader if he can have a application, commonly called a blue card, to work on a particular merit badge. The unit leader provides him that blue card with his signature. It's his choice if he wants to counsel the Scout. I've had so many little 11-year-olds want to do personal management who maybe are not quite ready for such a big, heavy-duty, money-centered merit badge. So the unit leader might say, okay, well, let's wait a couple of years for you to try that one. But it is no longer an approval. The Scout Master just recommends this might be very hard, or okay, let's let you have a chance to do that. A Scout who wants to work on any particular badge is welcome to at any time, but he always needs to start with his unit leader. His unit leader will give him the name and contact information for at least one counselor. The Scout is not forced to work with that one counselor. The Scout must be allowed to work with whatever counselor he chooses. If his granddad in Connecticut is a banker and he wants to work on personal management with his granddad in Connecticut, that is the Scout's choice. Scouts and counselors meet sometimes several times to go over what's been accomplished, what expectations are, what might need to be maybe updated or improved. And then at the counselor's discretion, when the counselor decides that the requirements are fulfilled, the counselor signs the blue card and the badge is earned. Okay. The Scout then turns his blue card into his unit leader, who usually hands it off to his advancement chair. It is awarded at usually the next court of honor and presented to the Scout. All right, so does anybody have any questions so far? This is a good place to stop and say, am I confusing everybody?
Lisa, do you want to say a few words on how the obviously using recording on a blue card certainly is an option, but also how it's during COVID we can do that through Scout Book as well as a second option.
Oh, sure.
For tracking that, I think on the previous slide.
There's a couple of slides, Ken, coming up that are all about blue cards.
Awesome. That's great.
Right here, as a matter of fact. If you're not familiar with blue cards, just give me a shout out and I can go into this in more detail, but I think perhaps all of us here are familiar with blue cards. I keep hearing rumors, maybe you do too, that blue cards are the blue dinosaur of scouting on their way out. I happen to think they'll always be around in some way or another, but Ken is absolutely right. More and more and more tracking of all kinds, not just merit badges, but advancement and special awards and camping nights. It's being tracked on Scout Book. When I did Scout Book training about a year ago, I learned, to my surprise, that if you have a BSA ID number, you are already in Scout Book, even if you don't know. And the presenter showed me, I gave him my BSA ID number, and up on this very big screen popped my name, my phone number, what all I do, what all I counsel, and I had no idea it was in there. If you're not familiar with Scapbook, it's definitely worth a look to start getting familiar with. More and more Scouts are using it, and more parents are expecting unit leaders to use it and be familiar with it and to track their Scouts advancement on it. So, and there are all kinds of helpful little tracking devices on it. If I do a merit badge group of 7 Scouts and they are all at different places on the merit badge and just one screen, I can, if we get together and we have one really big important conversation, I can check off that requirement for 7 Scouts all at once. So it's enormously helpful. And I think more and more camps are using Scapbook as well. There's nothing worse than working with a group of Scouts when it's at an event, when it's busy and Scouts are getting tired and parents are ready to go, and having 15 of them hand you a blue card all at the same time, usually not filled out, and you have to carefully track through everybody's card and this requirement and that requirement. Scapbook just makes it so much easier. So a Scout has an interest, he gets a blue card from his unit leader. His unit leader gives him your contact information. He contacts you. He lets you know that his parent is in the room or on the email. And you guys decide if you are going to have the time to work together. You don't have to work with any Scout who asks. It's perfectly okay to say, I am so sorry, I just do not have time right now. That Scout can always go back to his unit leader for more contact information from another counselor. And I think that's a good thing, because we've all had too many irons in the fire at one time or another. So it's okay to tell a Scout no. There are hundreds of merit badge counselors out there eager to work with Scouts. Since it's right here on the page, I'll go ahead and say something kind of important that people may or may not know. Scouts are not required to have a signed blue card before they start working on the requirements. They are required to have a signed blue card before they contact a counselor. If they're raising goats and they want to do the animal science merit badge, they can go ahead and start working on those requirements in the hopes that when they do get connected to a counselor, he or she will accept them. It is always at a counselor's discretion to accept or not work done previous to the connection between the Scout and the counselor. As long as the work was done after the Scout crossed over into Scouts BSA, Cub Scout work actually does not count towards merit badge requirements. Okay. Here's the blue card. There's where the Scout fills out their part. There's where a counselor tracks through the requirements one by one by one by one. There's the back. It is the counselor who completes the merit badge with the Scout who signs the back. Name, phone number, address, all of that. If you're working on a Scout in a group setting and you know that you're not going to get finished, it's okay to give that Scout a partial blue card that he can take to another counselor for completion in his own time. They're perforated. When you finish working with a Scout and everything's done, you tear off the counselor's record, you keep that yourself. It is recommended that you keep those counselor's records for at least a year. I was recently contacted by a Scout who said, oh my goodness, Mrs. Widener, I'm getting ready to age out. I am desperate to work on family life with you. And I got the pleasure of saying, but we did that 2 years ago. Don't you remember? And the Scout is like, I don't think so. And I went to my little stash and I found his little blue card that even had the words, very nice job written on them. And I was able to give that Scout a hard time. And he did eventually remember that we did work together, but I would never have remembered if I hadn't hung on to my little counselor's record. The applicant's record is for the Scout. It's more of a keepsake than anything else. The other part gets turned into the unit leadership. All right. The merit badge counselor meets with the Scout the scout must be with a buddy. A buddy can be another scout. It can be a brother, a sister, or a friend. It can be a parent. I never trust that. When I meet with a scout, I always have my own second adult handy to make sure that 2D leadership is kept. You'd be surprised at the number of kids who say, oh, I will meet you at the library and I will bring my mom. And then the scout walks in uniform because it is an official thing. So he walks in uniform, you know him right away because he's wearing a Boy Scout uniform and there is no mom. And you ask the scout, where is your mom? And the scout says, she dropped me off and she went on down to the gym. And that is when you have the unfortunate circumstances of having to ask the scout to get out his cell phone, contact his mom, have his mom return while you sit here in this very public place. It's there to protect scouts and adult leaders. Scouts need to bring a buddy, and just to be safe, when I meet with a scout, I bring a buddy too. That first meeting can be talking about what they know already, what they've achieved already, if they feel like they have requirements that they're ready to present. And then you set up additional meetings to go over any work that the scout still needs to complete. All right. Merit badge counselors don't have to be teachers. Merit badge counselors are coaches. They provide opportunities to practice. They praise scouts for learning new stuff. I have sent scouts back to the drawing board many times when I felt like the work that they were showing me was not appropriate to their age or level. That's perfectly okay. Counselor's discretion says that if you feel like a scout is not putting in enough effort, you can ask them to rework, rewrite. You encourage scouts by helping them set goals. I've encouraged scouts to bump up their list of chores. Carrying the dishes from the table to the sink is not a chore in my book. It is just a polite thing to do. It doesn't count as a chore to me, although some scouts would like it to be. And then as they progress through and you communicate with each other, they get a really good idea about what all you expect and what all this merit badge is about. All right, merit badge counselors, if you have a genuine interest in what you're counseling, it really shows. So it's great if you focus your attention on counseling those things you really enjoy. It sparks curiosity in the scouts. It encourages them to investigate something even further. I know several scouts who are, for some reason, all interested in stamp collecting of all things now because they did the stamp collecting merit badge. All right, when you work with a scout, make sure, double, triple sure that you are working with the most current requirements for the merit badge. Those booklets are awesome. The covers are beautiful. But they're paper booklets. They don't update automatically when Scouts BSA changes requirements. So it's really unfortunate when a Scout has been working really hard on a merit badge and you are still working with an old booklet and can't help them because you're literally not on the same page. All the requirements are available at this link, scouting.org/advancement. Are the requirements flexible? This is the golden rule of merit badge counseling. It's so golden. I even wrote it in red ink in my notes. I don't know if you can see that. Requirements.
Really quick, Lisa, yeah. I was going to say on the Scout book thing, the Amazon now has all merit badge books.
Oh, that's awesome.
In digital for the Kindle. So that is an option as well.
That is awesome. That's great news. Thank you, Eric, for that.
Yeah.
I had somebody the other day contact me, just an acquaintance on Facebook. She had inherited a whole bin of the old red and black merit badge pamphlets. And she's like, are these helpful? Are these useful? Should I hang on to these? I suppose somebody donated them to her. And just looking at, I mean, they had to have been at least 20 years old. And even though some of the information in them is really valuable, and if you've got the storage space, sure, why not? The requirements are going to have changed in almost every single one. So getting the most latest up-to-date off of Amazon for Kindle is perfect. The requirements are not flexible. They have to be fulfilled exactly as written. Wording matters. If it says show, the Scout needs to show you. If it says demonstrate, the Scout needs to demonstrate, either in person or online. That's up to you as the counselor. But you can't satisfy a requirement that says demonstrate by writing a paragraph. This is a real sticking point with merit badge counselors. There's no bending the rules. There's no getting around things that are inconvenient. They have to be completed as literally as they are written. And there are places where one activity will satisfy more than one requirement. Some things do overlap. I think there's a couple of places like in backpacking and hiking where one hike will satisfy 2 requirements on 2 different badges. There are places, however, where you cannot let that happen, and it says so right in the book. So I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but oh, like collecting. A Scout working on the collections merit badge can't use a stamp collection because stamp collecting is a separate merit badge. But that almost never happens. What else? Common sense. There are times in merit badge counseling that you have to rely on your common sense more than you think, just to keep Scouts safe. I don't know what else there is even to say about that. Scouts will try. I know people are busy, boys are busy, girls are busy, but people will try to cut corners and try to use one activity for a whole host of things sometimes. And once again, we're back to counselor discretion. It's up to you to accept or deny a requirement as you see fit. All right. So just once again, there are no changes to the merit badge requirements. There are accommodations for some Scouts with special needs. And I think, yeah, if you are working with a Scout with special needs, there are a few alternative activities because, you know, some Scouts with special needs have certain challenges that need a little bit of accommodation. There's tons of resources online about working with Scouts with disabilities. If you are lucky enough to work with a Scout with disabilities, I would work with that Scout's unit leader to see if there are any alternatives that might be of benefit to that Scout. Usually the Scouts with special needs parents know more about that than anybody else. So it's perfectly okay to have a little conference with the Scout's parent and the unit leader to see just how far you can help a Scout with special needs progress. All right, the buddy system we talked about. Buddies can be Scouts, they can be parents, they can be sisters, they can be friends. Your buddy needs to be an adult, preferably an adult Scouter. I always take a buddy with me when I meet with a Scout. Tips to make kids feel comfortable. Scout merit badges should be fun. Even the important ones should be fun. You don't want to do anything that makes the Scout feel uncomfortable. I know my own Scout abandoned insect study at summer camp one summer when the counselor was torturing bugs. He got permission from his unit leader to get his phone out of storage to call me and tell me that, which I thought was really sweet. He was only 11. So, you know, obviously we're not going to do anything that makes Scouts feel bored or uncomfortable. Well, bored, I don't know if we can avoid, but uncomfortable, certainly. In merit badge counseling, you use the EDGE method. I think everybody probably knows what that is. Group instruction. Group instruction is one of those things that I find people have very strong opinions about. They either think they are, wonderful, the way of the future. There are some people who think they are useless. And it kind of doesn't really matter what your personal opinion is. What really matters is that everybody across the board just sticks with the guidelines to advancement, which are available online. The merit badge part of the guidelines is section 7. Everything is spelled out there in great detail. Group instruction is an acceptable part of earning merit badges. There's advantages to being in a group when you're working on a merit badge. The event that had to get canceled last March, we were going to offer animal science, and we actually had a guest to help with that along the side of the counselor. A working veterinarian was going to come and help lead that merit badge. She's not a scouter, but a merit badge counselor is welcome to work with any expert that they feel will benefit the scouts in a group instruction situation. Luckily, she was as disappointed when it got canceled as the scouts were, and she has let me know that the next time we have the chance to meet in person, she will be there to help the scouts with their animal science merit badge. And you never know when a scout will walk away from an experience like that thinking, wow, I really do want to be a veterinarian. So the trouble with group instruction is especially with these big groups, some of these online groups that are hundreds of scouts, I don't know what they're thinking. Every scout must personally fulfill every requirement as written. So when I arrange events for the district, I make sure that my groups are small, that the scouts will have plenty of opportunity to ask questions, to be worked with individually, of course, with a parent copied if it's by email. The counselors understand that every requirement has to be met, fulfilled as written, even if it's in a group. But the advantages of working with a group of scouts just cannot be denied. There's all kinds of rules about ensuring the quality of such an event. That kind of falls on my shoulders for the district to make sure that the classes aren't too big, that the counselors are all registered, that there's no issues that ever might need to be reported to the Council Advancement Committee. There's tons of opportunities out there right now for scouts to work in groups online. I would just say, if your scout's going to do that, go into it with your eyes wide open so that you can spot a lesser quality activity or event from the get-go. I know my own son dropped out of one when he learned he was one of 200 scouts. He just wanted more out of the merit badge than that. Camps are interesting because, it's camp. Some activities just can't be done at camp. So camps send kids home with partials. I think the people at the camps, from my experience, all do a pretty dang good job. A lot of people are really down on merit badge counseling at camps. They just think it's lesser quality. As with everything in merit badge counseling, it just comes down to what the counselor is putting into it and how seriously he or she is taking it. But there's rules about camps too. If you're lucky enough to go camping with your troop, that's all in the guidelines to advancement, how you will handle that. Merit badge events are just the same. When I organize one for the district, I make sure that the counselors know they are welcome to ask the scouts to come with prepared prerequisites. I warn the scouts they may walk away with a partial, that the chance of completing a merit badge all in one day are actually pretty slim. And once again, the counselors are great about making sure that each scout personally fulfills the requirements. Fees shouldn't be charged. That's kind of beyond the average counselor's control. I'm the one who says yes, you can ask your scouts to pay. I did theater once, and I asked my scouts to pay $5 to cover theatrical makeup, which is ridiculously expensive. And they were happy to do that and had a great time and got to work with some really quality products. Some organizations, non-scouting organizations, offer merit badge opportunities. There's a gym down in Tacoma called Edgeworks. It's owned by an Eagle Scout in his 40s, I'd say. They lead scouts through the climbing merit badge, which our troop did. It was amazing. The kids walked in, some of them were scared to death. And by the time it was time to go, they were dropping down 100-foot walls, scaring some parents to death. But they had an amazing experience. I can't say enough about the organizations who do that. They all get screened by the council. So there's no, I mean, it's not a for-profit kind of thing, but there are fees associated with that. I mean, we used their climbing walls for about 6 hours. So they did charge us fees for the time. The worksheets are not official BSA documents, so counselors cannot actually require their use. Some counselors find them really helpful. Some scouts find them really helpful. It's perfectly okay as a counselor to say, well, why don't you fill out the worksheet for me and then we'll go over it together. They help keep scouts organized, but you can't say, fill in the worksheets and then you'll be done, because that's kind of shortchanging the scout on what might otherwise be a great experience. Worksheets are not a substitute for showing or demonstrating or discussing. That's all just common sense. And partials, you are, as a counselor, are welcome to tell a scout, no, I'm afraid I will not accept these requirements that were signed off by someone else. Most counselors that I work with don't do that, because, you know, a scout is trustworthy. A merit badge counselor is a scout in a way. A counselor is trustworthy, but it's up to you. If you don't want to sign off a merit badge that was started with another counselor and has somebody else's initials on it, that is absolutely up to you. Partials don't ever expire, by the way. They are useful as long as the scout is in scouting. My scout finished up snow sports recently that he began in 2016 and still had a partial. They're helpful, but sometimes they're problematic, because sometimes a counselor who thought maybe he would finish the merit badge with the scout, filled in his name and address and phone number and signed the card when there are still requirements left to be completed. So that makes kind of a little mess, a lot of crossing off, but it can be done. Once a badge is earned, it's earned. There is no retesting scouts in the merit badge program. There is a limited amount of recourse. If a scout comes home from camp with like 14 blue cards, a unit leader is allowed to say, wow, how did you find the time to work on all these merit badges? And then the scout may own up and say, well, he didn't really earn all these merit badges. But it's actually against the rules for someone who was not the merit badge counselor to say, well, let's sit down and go over these requirements and see how much about this merit badge you actually know. Once a merit badge is earned, it's earned. Once the blue card is signed, it's signed. Somebody told me a long time ago, scouts are not punished for the mistakes of adults in scouting. It does happen sometimes that a scout will work with somebody who thinks they're registered in the district, but actually they aren't, for that badge maybe. Scouts are never punished for the mistakes of adults. Once a merit badge is earned, it's earned. All right. Second counselor review. If it's plainly obvious that the scout says, yes, I earned the scuba diving merit badge this afternoon with my Aunt Jean, then a second counselor might review the scout's work to the scouts who are trying to get away with something will almost always own up and say, actually, no, I didn't. Here are some merit badge myths. Interestingly enough, what age or rank may scouts work on merit badges? What is the maximum number of merit badges a scout may work on at the same time? Is a scout allowed to begin work on a merit badge without their unit leader's approval? If a scout has too many unfinished merit badges, may the unit leader limit how many others they may begin? You think you know? I surprised myself the first time I took this quiz. Is it appropriate to tell a scout they must earn all or most of the Eagle requireds before they can earn any of the others? Is the Scoutmaster permitted to serve as a merit badge counselor for merit badges? What is the maximum number of badges a youth may earn from one counselor? How many badges may one counselor be approved for? Can you counsel your own son or daughter? Can you counsel in other units or districts? Is a camp staff member allowed to make minor adjustments to the requirements? Once you are registered and approved as a counselor, at what point must you re-register and become re-approved? We talked about that. When does a partial expire? Well, here's the answers. If you ask these questions to a group of 50 scouters, you will probably get 30 different answers, but these are the correct answers. There's no limit to the age of a scout who wants to work on a merit badge. If he has crossed over into Boy Scouting, he has until his 18th birthday to work on merit badges. There is no limit to the maximum number they can have open at the same time. They can start the work before they are working with a counselor. Can a unit leader say, you have too many partials, I'm not going to let you start another merit badge? This happens a lot. It causes a lot of trouble with parents and unit leaders, and the answer is no. A unit leader can say, wow, you've got a lot of unfinished merit badges open. But a unit leader cannot refuse to let a scout start a merit badge. They can only suggest doing the Eagle requireds first. Some scouts are okay with that, but some scouts just want to get out there and have fun and do fun stuff like basket weaving. It's the scout's journey. Let them journey on their own. Sure, Scoutmasters make great merit badge counselors as long as they are registered with the district or council to do that. There's no BSA limit to the number of badges a youth can earn from one counselor, although some districts can say, they can put their own limit on it as long as it's not just for one scout. For instance, a district leader might say, well, let's just have our scouts earn no more than 4 from the same counselor. And that's across the board for all scouts. That can't be for just one scout. How many badges can one counselor be approved to counsel? This also is up to different councils. There's no national rule about it. In the Chief Seattle Council, there's no limit that I know of, but some councils do put a limit on the number of badges one person can counsel. Can you counsel your own son or daughter? Absolutely. Even on Eagle required? Yes, you can. In my experience, my scout doesn't want to work with me. He says, I'm too hard. On the other hand, he's happy to work with his dad, who he says is too easy. Well, the requirements are what they are, so being hard or easy shouldn't really have anything else to do with it. But yeah, you can counsel your own son or daughter. I wouldn't recommend it, not for your own kids, not for other people's kids, just because working with an adult, a different adult than their parent, is part of learning. It's part of the scouting objective of growing through scouting, learning how to work with brand new people they've never met before. Can you counsel in other units, districts, or councils? Absolutely. Absolutely you can. There's a myth out there that if the counselor is not known to your unit leader or not part of your own district or council, that the merit badge doesn't count. That is a myth. I just finished genealogy with 4 delightful scouts from Brooklyn, New York, who were a little afraid to work with me because they were afraid it wouldn't count. It does count. A merit badge counselor for Scouts BSA can counsel any scout.
I thought maybe they'd talk to your son. They were worried you're too hard.
These girls were so funny because they came in, and I started talking about the wonderful magic of genealogy, and I could see a couple of confused looks, and they actually thought they had signed up for geology, and didn't really know what genealogy even was. But I'm proud to say I was so enthusiastic about my subject material that I was contacted by 2 of them, not all 4, but 2 of them saying, "This is awesome. I'm so glad this mistake was made. I want to do this. I will be back in touch with you." And they have. They have. 2 of them are almost finished with genealogy. Can camp staff members make minor adjustments? No. Once you're registered and approved, at what point must you re-register? Once a year. When does a partial expire? Partials don't expire. A scout who starts a merit badge, for instance, going back to my scout in snow sports, he started that in 2016. And snow sports has had a mammoth overhaul. It's snow on snow part is completely different than it was before. But the off snow part isn't really. And he was thinking, wow, it's November, I age out in December. Snowboarding is very important to me. I'd really like to have this merit badge. I did all this on snow work. Is it not going to count? Yeah, you have until you age out of scouting to finish a merit badge under the requirements that you started with. You can switch to the new requirements if you want to, but he had the opportunity to finish that merit badge using, what is this, 2020, 4-year-old requirements, and had a blast doing it. I saw his work. It was pretty good. All right, I lost my place. Okay, so in the end, merit badge counselors, share your passion, teach skills, touch lives. When I started doing this, I had no idea how much I was going to enjoy it, how much I look forward to working with scouts, how I loved seeing an email from my scouts. You know, you work with kids and sometimes they disappear into the great blue yonder. You never hear from them again. You always wonder whatever happened to them. And that's part of the scouting journey. That happens to everybody. At a merit badge event, I have found over the last year or so that I've been doing it, you know, about 1/3 of the scouts will finish in a group setting. About 1/3 will work on it over time. About 1/3 you will never hear from again. But it's those kids' journey. And I just think it's a blessing to be able to be part of that journey, especially when it's about genealogy. And a couple of other things that I counsel, reptiles. And there's your links. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about tonight, there's all the places to find more information. Carol Cordray is an awesome merit badge counselor. She probably knows more about merit badge counseling than I do. I hear great things about Carol. I think she makes counseling really fun for her scouts. Ken has been there. He does big, heavy-duty ones like sustainability, which is a mammoth merit badge.
It's a lot of meat to it, yeah.
Some of them, you just take a look at the requirements and you're like, what are they?
That looks hard.
That's
hard.
My husband was working with a scout on citizenship in the community, and he's like, this is hard. I'm like, that's why you do it and I don't.
Eagle required merit badge, yeah.
Eagle required merit badges are fun. They are fun. And of course, being Eagle required, kids are really motivated to do them. And I have not actually had very many scouts try to get away with substandard work. But on the other hand, I do try to keep in the back of my mind that, you know, when I'm leading the genealogy merit badge, I'm not teaching 12-year-olds to be professional genealogists. I'm just helping them understand that they have a family history, which is probably full of stories that they don't know, an adventure to go on, I don't take it too seriously. I make sure all the requirements are completely covered, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just one of the methods of scouting. It's not the end all of scouting. And that's about all I've got for you guys. I'm sorry I talk so much. It's a real problem. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, now's the time. If you come up with questions later, feel free to email me. Anything else I can do for anybody?
Lisa, that was awesome. Thank you so much, and love your passion for this. You put on some great merit badge events, both in person and more recently online. So if there are other folks online there that would love to get connected and become a merit badge counselor, or maybe add a few to your list of merit badges you counsel, district's always looking to have folks support and teach merit badges at events, either online or hopefully next year, again, in-person merit badge fairs. Share some the passion and knowledge you've got for whatever topic is of interest to you.
Yeah.
Lisa, I have a question really quick.
Sure.
This training that we went through, is it actually qualifying any of us to now basically, we've checked the box to allow us to become a merit badge counselor at this point, assuming you meet the qualifications of the said merit badge? Or is this really more of an overview to understand, because this content's great. I just wanted to know if, like, now all I have to do is qualify myself and I can go
fill out the form.
Fill out
YPT,
form,
fill out the online,
in.
fill out the form, select the merit badges you want to counsel.
Eric, that is a great question. You'd be surprised. Merit badge counselor training is actually not required at all to be a merit badge counselor. So you may have to take your application and draw a little box on it that you can check off.
Good. All right, because I really like accolades as a millennial. I really want, to make sure I'm checking boxes and getting gratification. So yeah.
Well,
cool.
Going back to my snarky little person this morning, this is all available online. Why would you do that?
Because I can't ask questions to a computer. I mean, I just don't get the answers I'm looking for all the time.
Yeah, in all seriousness, yeah, and I don't have all the answers for sure. But I've been in Scouts now. My son is my middle son is about to age out, and he will. I'm very proud. He will age out with 3 silver palms. Woo! Yeah. So that's 45 extra.